Hello everyone and welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. I hope you're all feeling fantastic today. If you're just discovering us, consider this your personal invitation to settle in, because you've arrived at a place where we savor the sweetest moments and the most intriguing whispers from the world of entertainment. Today's story is one that warmed our entire team, and judging by the reactions pouring in, it's doing the same for fans everywhere. We're taking you inside a tender, unexpected gesture that has everyone talking about two beloved figures whose chemistry on and off the screen has long captured hearts, Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda. Yes, you read that right. If the title drew you here, trust me, the reality is even more endearing than you imagined. We're diving into the heartfelt tribute Gökberk dedicated to Cemre. A poem so intimate and sincere that it left a lasting glow on social media and lit up the faces of everyone who's followed their journey. He's known as the captivating star who can command a scene with a glance, but this time, he stepped into the spotlight with something far softer, carefully chosen words that reveal just how deeply he admires her. Before we unwrap all the delicate details, if you haven't already, tap subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Here at Secrets Behind the Stars, we bring you closer to your favorite celebrities with the stories that make them feel wonderfully human. You won't want to miss what's next. Now, let's go to the heart of it. The connection between Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda has always been more than a headline. Their synergy is undeniable, anyone who has watched them share the same frame knows it. Their supporters have sensed a bond that extends beyond the camera's lens. A shared rhythm, an unspoken understanding, a habit of cheering for one another's wins with genuine pride. For a long time, fans have traded theories, replayed interviews, and searched for the tiny moments that say more than words ever could. And yet, what just happened went far beyond speculation. Gökberk, in a gesture that is as romantic as it is vulnerable, penned a poem for Cemre. Not a grand, lofty ode. Not a speech crafted for headlines. This was something modest and carefully distilled, a handful of verses that seemed to hold everything he feels for her in clear, steady light. He shared it publicly enough that it found its way into the timelines, stories, and comment threads of those who adore them, yet it still felt intimate, like a soft conversation overheard through an open window. In the poem, he is said to speak of the brightness Cemre brings to his days, the kind of glow that doesn't demand attention but quietly changes everything. There's mention of her smile, the way it can dissolve stress he never talks about. There's a nod to her resilience, her strength that's never harsh, her calm that steadies chaos, and the kind of beauty that's less about appearance and more about presence. Those who've read the snippets describe it as simple, almost spare, but full of meaning. The words feel lived in, like the pages of a journal he's been carrying for months. Picture the moment, a late evening after filming, the set finally quiet, the air heavy with the dust of a long day. Gökberk sits with a cup of coffee going cold while he writes. Maybe it began with a line that surprised even him. Maybe he crossed out the first version, then the second, until the right words appeared, gentle, certain, honest. There's a sensitivity people sometimes forget he has, because he's so often the confident lead. But here, the curtain pulled back, it's easier to see that he's an artist through and through, one who can turn silence into something that speaks. And then there's the part that sent the internet floating, Cemre's reaction. In the clips and photos circulating, you can see it unfold in real time. The slight intake of breath, the kind of smile that isn't posed, the way her eyes turn glassy for a second before she blinks it back with a soft laugh. At one point she presses a hand to her chest as if to steady what she's feeling, and there's a hush from those nearby. It's not the dramatic gasp of a red carpet moment. It's smaller, more private, and that's exactly why it struck everyone so deeply. You know how sometimes a person's response tells a whole story? That's what happened here. Cemre's expression said, I didn't expect this, but I understand it, and I feel it too. Those who love them saw a reflection of everything they'd suspected, that beyond schedules and spotlights, there's a partnership rooted in care, in encouragement, in the kind of admiration that doesn't falter under pressure. Online, the reactions were immediate and overwhelming. Fans clipped their favorite lines and debated what each image meant. Some said the poem was the kind of love letter we rarely see in the public eye these days, unembarrassed and raw. Others focused on how she looked at him when she realized what was happening. Comments piled up, full of delight and relief, people saying they felt seen, saying the simplest words are sometimes the bravest, saying that this is the version of romance they'd been waiting to witness. It's not performative. It's present. Let's linger on what makes this so meaningful. In an era where image can eclipse substance, where carefully arranged posts pass for intimacy, a gesture like this lands differently. It shows an artist comfortable enough to be open, to say something unguarded and trust that it will be received with kindness. We're used to scripts and press releases. But an unadorned poem, built of personal truth, released into a watchful world, requires a kind of courage even seasoned performers don't always show. And for Cemre, accepting the dedication so openly was its own act of generosity. She didn't perform gratitude, she let herself feel, and she let that feeling be visible. It was an answer that didn't need words. The exchange formed a loop, his vulnerability meeting her warmth, her radiance confirming his sincerity, until it became something more than a gesture. It became a moment neither of them could have created alone. Those who followed Gökberk and Cemre for years know this was never about spectacle. He has often been described as grounded, the kind of person who gives as much attention to the crew as he does to the camera. She's praised for her empathy, for bringing a glow to her scenes that seems to come from the person she is off-set. Together, they've always felt like a partnership that elevates both halves. And this poem, modest as it may be, feels like another step along that path. A quiet milestone that fans will revisit in memory whenever their story is discussed. We've heard whispers about the lines themselves. Nothing flashy, just small observations, carefully arranged. A mention of her laughter brushing the gray from a difficult day. A note about how the room balances when she walks into it, how the air somehow feels steady again. There's a line, people keep quoting it. About finding courage in her presence, not because she tells him what to do, but because she reminds him who he is. It's the kind of detail that only appears when someone has been paying attention for a long time. And then there's the aftermath. You can see how this moment has threaded itself into their public narrative. Interviews will now have a new question, and clips from this week will be spliced into future montages. The poem isn't just a romantic flourish, it's a marker of time. Fans will point to it and say, that's when we all knew. Not in a sensational way, not as proof of gossip, but as confirmation of the tenderness so many sense beneath the surface. It also starts a conversation about how we communicate in relationships, especially when cameras are never far away. There are thoughts that feel too delicate for everyday chatter, and sometimes the right form, a poem, a note, a quiet dedication, gives those thoughts a place to land. In this case, Gökberk found a language that matched his feelings, art meeting affection, craft meeting candor. The balance is beautiful. Of course, part of the joy here is the sheer entertainment of it all. Fans love a love story, especially one told through moments rather than declarations. This is the kind of chapter that keeps people invested, that turns scrolling into savoring. It's like the warmest episode of a series you've been watching for years. The one you rewatch late at night because it makes you feel that the world, despite everything, still has room for sweetness. We've gathered some of the most thoughtful reactions from across the platforms. People wrote about how seeing a star embrace vulnerability gave them permission to do the same. They thanked him for reminding them that gentleness can be powerful. They thanked her for receiving it with grace. Others simply said they couldn't stop smiling, that they'd replayed the video too many times, that the exchange made them believe a little more in the quiet kinds of love. And then, in a corner of the conversation, you'll find the practical observers pointing out how intentionality changes everything. They note that the poem was short, that it didn't rely on grand language or sweeping metaphors. The strength of it came from specificity and restraint, the way love often does in real life. Just a handful of truths offered with a steady hand. All of this underscores why people are so drawn to Gökberk and Cemre together. It isn't only the glamour, though they have plenty of that. It's the partnership. The way they celebrate each other's achievements without crowding each other's light. The way she listens when he speaks, and how he seems to find the right words when she needs them most. In an industry that can turn even private moments into currency, they managed to share something tender without letting it feel commercial. That's rare. That's worthy of being cherished. As we reflect on the ripple effect of this moment, consider what it teaches all of us about love and artistry. The poem wasn't a publicity stunt, it was an offering. And Semra's response wasn't a performance, it was an embrace. When you place those two acts side by side, you get a portrait of a relationship sturdy enough to be soft. You get proof that, even amid big schedules and bigger expectations, two people can still find quiet ways to say, I see you. I am grateful for you. I am better with you near. For those who've walked with them from their earliest projects to now, this felt like a promise. Not a loud one. A promise made with eye contact and a half-smile and words saved for exactly the right moment. And to everyone watching from a distance, it was an invitation to remember that romance doesn't have to shout. It can whisper and still be heard by the whole world. We're so glad we could share this with you today. Tell us how it made you feel. What did you think of the poem Gökberk Yıldırım dedicated to Semra Arda, and the way she received it? Do you think gestures like this help keep love strong, especially under the glare of public attention? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read them all, and we love hearing your perspectives. If this story touched you even a little, show your support with a like, and pass this video along to a friend who has been rooting for these two since the beginning. And if you haven't joined our family yet, now's the perfect time. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment like this again. Here at Secrets Behind the Stars, we'll keep bringing you the scenes, the sighs, and the stories that remind us why we fell in love with the magic of showbiz in the first place. Thank you for being here with us today. Until the next video, sending you warmth and a promise to keep following the thread of this beautiful chapter as it continues to unfold. Big hugs to everyone.